today we're going to talk to you about drill bits. We're going to look at 6 different brands and do what I call a misfire test to see which brand holds up to the abuse better. You'll be surprised at which brand is best. Now today we're going to be starting with the DeWalt brand. Everyone is familiar with DeWalt. Everyone knows they're not the cheapest brand, but they're well made. So we're going to start off with one of their drill bits. We're going to do a Phillips bit, and we're going to do the misfire test with this bit first. So if you've never heard of a misfire test, basically what it is you put the drill bit into a screw that is already ran into a piece of wood. You then take it just out of the screw head, just enough for it to spin without grabbing the screw, and that's called a misfire. It's going to sit there and spin on the screw head, metal to metal contact for 5 seconds. That's going to give you an idea of the durability and longevity of that drill bit. First bit that we're going to be testing is DeWalt. DeWalt is known to be one of the better brands. So let's try it out. You do that for 5 seconds, and that shows you what kind of abuse that bit is going to be able to handle. Obviously that's just a small sample, but DeWalt, there's a little bit of wear and tear on there. You can see it wore it down a little bit. I'm going to give DeWalt an 8 out of 10 on the durability. The second bit we're going to use is a Milwaukee drill bit. Now, I didn't spend the high dollar to get the full pack of Milwaukee bits. I have plenty of drill bits, I didn't need to do that. But I got a 2-pack here, which also has a Phillips bit. So we're going to use that for our misfire test for Milwaukee. Milwaukee is the next brand we're going to be looking at. Milwaukee is one of the more expensive, one of the better made bits. Let's see what kind of abuse it can take. As you can see, Milwaukee held up pretty well. Not a whole lot of wear on the bit. That's actually pretty impressive. I'm going to have to give Milwaukee a 10 out of 10 on the misfire test. The third brand we're going to use is Hart. This is a lower end brand that you can get from Walmart. We are going to use them next, do a misfire test, and see how they hold up to the competition. Now we have Hart. Hart is a lower to mid-range bit. Let's see how it holds up. I'm kind of curious on this one. As you can see, Hart held up pretty well. Not a lot of wear. Actually, maybe a little less wear than the DeWalt. Roughly the same. I'm going to give a Hart an 8 out of 10. Definitely a good value because it's a lot less expensive than DeWalt. The next bit we're going to use is Craftsman. They're a low to mid-range bit. This is who I use a lot of tools from just because for the price, they're pretty good quality. They hold up pretty well and they do a good job. So we're going to use Craftsman for the next misfire test. Craftsman. I'm going to use one of the smaller bits in an attachment here because the larger bits I do not have anymore. So we're going to use one of the smaller bits, but let's go ahead and try Craftsman out. Alright, Craftsman took a pretty good amount of wear and tear. I'm not gonna lie. I like Craftsman, I buy a lot of Craftsman. That I'm gonna have to say is probably about a 6 out of 10 on durability. Next, we have Amazon Basics. Yes, Amazon makes their own drill bits. They are inexpensive. You get a lot in there, so for the money, you get a lot of tools, but let's see how they hold up to the competition. Amazon Basics, super cheap, low-end bit. Again, I don't have any of the full bits, so I'm going to use an attachment for this one as well. Let's see how Amazon Basics holds up. That took quite a bit of wear and tear. I'm going to say the Amazon Basics on durability, I mean that's pretty beat up. I'm going to say that's a 5 out of 10 on durability. Last, we're going to use JobSmart brand bits, which is a lower end bit that you can find at Tractor Supply. You get a large pack of all kinds of drill bits, a 70-piece set. Typically this sells for less than 20 bucks. So value-wise, you get a lot with it, but let's see if the quality's there. JobSmart. Yeah, my container's a little worn here. I've had these for quite a while, but JobSmart, it's a low-end bit that you get from Tractor Supply. I'm also using an attachment for that one. So let's see how well these bits are made. Okay, it flattened it out pretty good. A lot of wear on there. I'm going to say JobSmart is down there with the Amazon Basics, probably a 5 out of 10. Those both could honestly go to a 4 out of 10. Truthfully, the DeWalt landed about where I thought it would. Not the very top, but pretty close. The Hart brand surprised me. Quality-wise, they landed right around the same as a DeWalt, an 8 out of 10. A lot cheaper. This pack here cost me $7. Of course, I got it on clearance. Probably runs normal, about $12.99, something like that. But the same set or a similar set in DeWalt is going to run you $20 to $25 for that same set of bits. Craftsman, price-wise, kind of falls in between those two. Craftsman, this set probably cost around $15 to $18. But quality-wise, this broke down a little quicker. I was actually surprised because I use a lot of Craftsman, but it didn't live up to the Hart. Amazon Basics, and quite frankly, the JobSmart, you get what you pay for. These are both low-end budget bits. If you need somewhat disposable bits, these will work great for a job or two. But then you're pretty much going to have to toss them. They're going to wear down quick. I gave both of these a 5. Actually, I could probably go to a 4 on these. You're just going to be replacing them over and over and over. And then we had the Milwaukee bits. Very well made. Of the group here, the best performing one that we had. On the Misfire Test, I gave it a 10 out of 10. 5 seconds or so misfiring on that screw. It didn't really wear down at all. You saw a couple marks, you're going to have that, but it didn't wear the bit down, which tells me longevity of the Milwaukee bits is really good. You're going to buy these bits, and as long as you don't lose them, like I tend to do, they will last you a long time. They will probably last you for a decade, depending on how hard you use them. So when it comes to the abuse, Milwaukee's the best brand. DeWalt and Hart, surprisingly, both of these are 8 out of 10. They are both well-made bits that will last you a long time. And then you get to Amazon Basics, Craftsman, and JobSmart. And quite frankly, they're not really worth the money. I will reconsider buying Craftsman again in the future because of the result of this test. So, when you're going to buy your next drill bits, look for these brands that tested better. Look for Hart, look for DeWalt, and if you want to spend a little bit more to get something that's going to last you even longer, look for Milwaukee. I hope this was helpful to you. See you next time.